Welcome to BI Publisher Extensions Lab. In this lab, we will look at filtering using the square brackets. We will look at section. We will look at some advanced concepts within the for loop. So our objective is to familiarize with using the square brackets, section, AdBlock. We will see how to do a page break using the keyword split by page break. At this point, I am assuming that the BI Publisher add-in is installed. So let's start with @section. @section would create a new page for each occurrence of the for each. Let's take a look at an XML file first. In this XML file, we have a parent root called catalog. We got two child roots. We have elements and we have attributes. So in normally when we say for each, we would display, or we will print the gartist and followed by the CDs. When we specify @section for each gartist, it's going to print the information for each artist in a different page. We will look at an example first. Here's the template that I built based on the XML file that we reviewed. Let's first load the data, and I'm going to preview it. So it's basically displaying the artist name, the CDs, or the recordings, the country. Let's go back to the template and let's look at the fields. So there is a for each, which is the main outer for each. Then we have an inner for each for each occurrence of the CD. Let's try to add the @section here. So let's go ahead and add @section. Update, and let's preview it. So notice that now for each occurrence of gartist, the data is displayed in a separate page. You cannot use normally the @section is used at the outer for each. It doesn't work that properly when you put it in the within the inner loops. So that's pretty much about the @section. So it's simple as just adding an @section, which would create a new page for each gartist, and this works only with PDF outputs. Let's take a look at the example for split by page group. So split by page group has a similar function as @section. In this case, we are going to force the page break on a particular position. It's a tool to it's a keyword to split, force the information to go to a separate page. Again, this works with PDF outputs only. Let's take a look at the example for it. So in this, in the previous example, we have created that section. I'm going to take that value off, and I'm going to force the page break at this point. So I have a split by page break. So let's see how the output comes. So you notice that it's similar to the previous example. The data is forced into a new page. So let's try to add the split by page group into here. Let's see what happens. So you notice that the data is split into, so we're forcing a new page for each CD. I don't think that's a desirable one. Now let's look at the AdBlock. AdBlock is used with XXL, and it is primarily used for highlighting a column. For example, if the amount is greater than 100, we can highlight that column in a separate color. AdBlock would be the right example for it. Let's try to do a sample for it. So back to our old example. Let's look at the field browser. So we have for each artist. Let's add a let's first look at the output. So based on this output, we are going to say if the price is above $9, or actually $10, we're gonna highlight the column as red. Let's try to accomplish that. Okay, let's start with inserting a form field right next to price. So in my screen I don't see the developer tab, so I'm going to add the developer tab here. More commands, customize ribbon, click on developer, click OK. So at this point I can see the developer tab. I'm going to insert a form field right next to the price. It's the text field. I'm going to add my code, which I copied it over. So if the price is greater than 10, I'm going to set the block background color to yellow. Let's see how to run it. So if you noticed that if the price is greater than 10, the background color is set to yellow. So let me try the same thing with the category type. If the category type is if it's a CD, we could highlight the box as red or some other color. I'm going to add the attribute right within the for each loop. So I have the code here. So it's basically if the category is CD, I'm going to say a block, the context is block, and the background color is red. Let's run and see what happens. So if it's CD, the cell is colored red. Let's try to make the entire row red. So to accomplish the entire row to be highlighted in a different color, for example, if the price is greater than $10, if we want the entire row to be highlighted, let's change a little bit. So I'm going to say if at row price is greater than 10, then let's try in context. Let's try what happens. So I have the formatter here. So if the price is about $10, the entire row is highlighted. So I'm going to save, I would be saving this information down at the header level, so you would be able to play with the information later on. So let's look at the code one more time. So we specified for at row, if the price is greater than 0, and then we set the context as in context. Basically at this point the whole row is highlighted. Let's look at the syntax for AdBlock. So the syntax for AdBlock is XXL attribute xdfx block then the background color, then type is background color in this case. For at row along with the in context will set the entire row formatting. So in our case, if at row where the category type is equal to CD, then we would set the in context for the background color to be red. Let's look at the other options that are available for the names. At this point, let's look at how to filter using the square brackets. So let's take our current template. We have an add session, and we have for each. Let's try to filter it with the square bracket. In this case, I'm going to filter it by country, where the country is equal to USA. So I'm going to add my square brackets here. I'm going to say COUNTRY equal single colon USA, and then the square bracket. I'm going to run it. So at this point, I'm seeing I'm filtering it by the country. Let's filter it by price, where the price is less than $5. Price. I'm going to set the square bracket to price is less than $5. Preview PDF. So let's add the question mark to date. Price is less than 5. Preview PDF. Here you can see that the price is less than 5. Let's change it to greater than 5. So it's greater than 5. So in this video, we looked at section. So at section creates a new section for each occurrence of the for each. So the syntax is for each at section. Then we also looked at the block, which is a context-based property. So we use XXL attribute, XDOFX at equal context equal block, and we specify the background color or whatever. Then we have the at row, which is again a context based. In this case, we specify if at row where the category type equals CD, then we use the context. Then we looked into filtering using the square brackets. It goes with for each, then the attribute name. Then we also looked into the split by page. Split by page break is similar to at section. Here we are forcing the page break. So the syntax is split by page break. So that concludes this video. We would see you again next time.